we've got you covered. From athletes to seniors and from pediatrics to geriatrics, we treat patients of all ages, helping you live pain-free, stay active, and feel your best. With a place in the top 1% of clinics nationwide, you can trust that you're in good hands. We're open 6 days a week, ready to serve your family for years to come. Haynes Total Healthcare Center, where healing happens for every stage of life. Call for an appointment today or visit us at hayneshealth.com. I'm Jeran Cox, and back this week off my 1 week suspension last week for my bad performance in week one. And to my left is Matt Hoops and Christian Spradlin. Is across from us. He's going to have some coaches lined up for us tonight. I think we got 5 of them lined up, but we were kind of talking, Matt, before we came on. The weather really has been the big winner here since, the last 4 or 5 days, it seems like.
Yeah, and it's inevitable. The start of spring sports, it's going to happen. It just seems that it's happened this year to start the season. Hopefully the worst is behind us, and we can get some nice weather so that we can get some games and meets in and, move forward with our spring sports.
Yeah, today was actually my first day back at school since Thursday. I don't think I told you that. So we were off Friday and we were off Monday due to flooding. We actually had a 2-hour delay this morning also. So you
should be well rested. A week off from the show.
Yes. Yes.
No school. Yeah, you should be. You're gonna have to carry me tonight.
I do know that SVC league play it started last night. Really, I want to talk about softball. There was one game that really kind of surprised me. I think Zane Trace knocked off Adina.
For sure.
2-1. And, we had Coach Morgan, Gino York in here last week. And, of course, I wasn't in here. But, I felt like with the way they started their season, that was like a really, really big win for them. Because I was able to umpire Adina in a scrimmage, and I thought they looked pretty good. So a big opening win for Zane Trace.
Yeah, and obviously just the type of the style of a play of Adina. We've talked about that multiple times. And, obviously Zane Trace was prepared for it. Seemed like they got good pitching and timely hitting to take that first league win. I'm sure that, they were really excited about that.
Absolutely. Adina, they like to play the small ball. And, I think that's something that Coach York, it's hard for me to say now, I know it's Adina, but Coach York's been around, obviously played at St. Trace, played in college. So good background, how to defend that. Baseball-wise, I know big game, county rivalry game in the Mid-State League last night, Circleville against Logan Elm. Circleville is usually really good. Coach Bigham does a really good job. I got to watch them earlier in the season and talk to him a little bit. And, he said that he didn't really think they had an ace, so to speak. Right. They had about 4 or 5 guys who were really solid number 2s. And I tell you, they have a solid lineup. Man, one of their pitchers, I don't know his name. He's got a nasty, nasty curveball. Made me buckle my knees a couple times behind the plate, but they were able to knock off Logan Elm last night, I think 8-2. So big win for them there in the Mid-State League. Any baseball scores kind of stood out to you?
Well, not really a score. You talk about the SVC. You talk about Coach Tony Taylor winning his 400th career win. Yep. Obviously, that's huge. He's been the head coach for 24 years, but been involved in the baseball program at Unioda since the early 90s. I know when I played, he was an assistant coach, and he's just a baseball lifer, so to speak. Hard worker, and I think his team reflects that. I can remember being a young player, and Taylor would say, "All right, you guys are getting your stuff. I see you don't want to put any extra work." And man, me and Brad Miller, he would reel us back in, and I swear he'd hit us 1,000 fungos, and we would basically field ground balls till it got dark, and it was because, sure, we wanted to get better, but he wanted to be there too, and he's just put a tremendous amount of time into that program and developed a lot of really good players over the years, and 400 wins is just huge. So congratulations to him.
Absolutely. I think his first year as a head coach was when I was a senior in high school. I was graduated in 2001.
I think 24 years ago. So
I think
adds
so.
up.
I was able to watch some of that game last night. We were having little league practice down there at Unioda, and I tell you what, they played Paint Valley, and that was a heck of a ball game. I think the final was 3-0, but I think after 5 it was 1-0,
right.
And the run that scored. I want to say it was Jackson Zickafoose. I could be wrong, but he was on first base, and Paint Valley tried to pick him off, had an errant throw. So he went to second, actually went to third, and took too big of a lead getting off third. Mm-hmm. And I think they threw behind him, got him like in a rundown. And I think they tagged him out, but the runner or the umpire called obstruction on the defense for blocking the plate without having the ball. And that's how the first run scored and put Unioda up 1-0. And
yeah, that's different. I mean, like, I get it, but like,
yeah.
Where are they supposed to go?
Yeah,
you know,
I agree.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I didn't see it. I don't know. But
yeah,
you know, that's always a judgment call. Obviously, you're an umpire. You know more about that than I do. But like that sounds like a tough situation. Tough break for Paint Valley.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough call for sure. But you know, KB Perkins was on the mound, and man, he had a dominant performance.
Yeah,
he went.
That's his second
game.
one he's had. He had a really good opening night against the Athens. They got the no decision, and nice to see him get a win last night, especially coming off of an injury during the season last year. So good for him.
Yeah, and I think the one thing too with Paint Valley is, you know, that's encouraging. Unioda, they're picked to be at the top of the league, and you know, we talked to Coach Combs a couple weeks ago, and I think they're D7. Is that what he said?
Yeah, I think so.
And I mean, you know, that's a
good
really
team in D7 for sure.
You know, Carson Freeze out there in center field. You know what kind of athlete he is. You know, you've seen him on the football field and the basketball court.
Right.
So we,
then their quarterbacks, the catchers. So anytime you have a leader back there, you have a really solid backstop which helps with your pitching staff and just leading, you know, on the field. And you know, Paint Valley is going to be a good team, especially come tournament time.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, we're going to take a quick break, Matt. We come back, we're going to get our first coach lined up here on the Edward Jones Coaches Hotline. Coach's Call-In Show by Sosa. Joining us now is Logan Elm boys baseball coach Drew McGlone. Coach, you out there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time to talk to us tonight. And now I don't think we've had the chance to talk to you yet this year. I think we have you guys at 0-5 right now, 0-2 in the Mid-State League. Just kind of talk to us a little bit about your team, what you have coming back, and you know, just what's happened here early in the season for you guys.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Yeah, we're going through it right now. We've got 6 seniors coming back. We got my 2 aces. I believe I have 2 aces on the mound, Grant Klein and Mason Gentry. They're both seniors for me. And I have a junior, Zane Seamer. He's also he's my number. I would say my number 2, but I call him my number 2, but we'll call it my number 3. I think we have a lot of arms. We're kind of searching for the right lineup right now. We haven't really put the ball in play at the right time. We've hit the ball better as of late. We just can't come up with the timely hits right now.
Yeah, I think that's the one thing is, I'm getting ready to start coaching Little League Baseball here, and I've just been playing through my head, how am I going to put my lineup? And it's one of those things like you kind of got to think about how you want to play. Like, you want your, a couple speedy guys up top, or do you want to alternate like a speedy guy, a big hitter? But you got to, like, get your on base guys on base and stuff like that, and just talk about maybe
right.
who has been hitting the ball well for you here the last couple games.
Mason Gentry really started the year off hot for us. We started that first Friday playing Jackson at Jackson, which was a really cool environment, and probably one of for those guys that they probably haven't been in before. So we played really well. Mason was on the mound for us. We got beat 4-2. Mason hit a home run. That was kind of where all of our offense came from. But he threw really well. He gave up 4, like I said, 4 runs, had 3 strikeouts. But he, like I said, he hit the ball really well that game. But Zane Seamer, as of late, has really come on and hit the baseball well. Kelton Bennington's my 3-hole. He's been hitting the ball well, and I'm trying. We need some guys to go with those 3, and really looking for a kind of a leadoff guy and a number 2 to really get going.
Is it one of those things, Coach, where you're talking about trying to find some other guys get going other than those 3? Like, is it like underclassmen? Maybe you try to bunt a little bit. Maybe you can steal some, hit and runs. Maybe try to open up some holes, or what are you trying to do? With we
are junior and senior loaded. So we are ready to go. So no, it is not underclassmen at all. We got guys that have played a lot of baseball, varsity baseball. So I'm looking for guys to step up and get the job done. But I know it's early. I guess I do seem frustrated. I'm not frustrated. I know they're young kids, and they'll get it done. But it's early in the year. I just got to remember that. And they're pressing a little bit, and I got to figure out. I got to press the right buttons too. That's what I got to do. So we'll get it done.
Coach, who do you have coming up tomorrow and the rest of this week?
We play Amanda tomorrow at Amanda, and then we go to Bloom Carroll on Friday.
Well, I think that's the one thing, Coach, is I think you guys just played Circleville last night, and I had a chance to watch them, and they're usually pretty daggone good themselves, but the Mid-State League, it's a tough baseball league, and so it's not like you guys are really facing like bad teams where you can, I'm gonna say take it easy or have an easy game or whatever, but night in and night out, it's good competition. You're seeing good pitching.
Heck yeah, and that's what we kind of talked about tonight at practice. We had a good practice tonight and got some stuff done. Like, I talked with the boys and I said, hey, well, you got to bring it every night. Like, this isn't just, you can't just show up and it's going to be handed to you. That's just not the way it's going to work. Like, I played in the Mid-State League, and it's been like that for as long as I've been around. So, and I played in 2008. So, I mean, it's always been that way. It's just it's good baseball.
And plus, I think your non-league schedule is tough as well. You already mentioned Jackson. I think you played Zane Trace, who's probably the league pick in the SVC. So, it's early in the season. You guys have played, just that I know of, Circleville, Zane Trace, Jackson right there off the top of my head. Those are three really good teams. Yeah. And, the weather's been inconsistent, so I'm sure you haven't had a lot of outside practice time. So, hang in there and keep plugging away, and I'm sure you guys will be fine.
Coach, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Hey, that Westfall,
go ahead.
That Westfall team.
Oh, I forgot about them too. Yeah,
got a bunch of seniors.
Yeah,
they got a bunch of seniors too.
Coach, I'm going to ask you one question here, maybe to try to lighten your mood a little bit before we let you go.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. What is the funniest or craziest thing you've ever seen happen on a baseball field?
Funniest or craziest? Well,
stumped him.
You might have stumped me. You might have stumped me there. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know. Funniest or craziest? I've been in a pretty good fight at Union Oda before.
Whoa.
That might not be funny or crazy, but I guess it is crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah.
It was a pretty good
real fight.
Yeah.
High school baseball.
We were playing. Chillicothe Capitals.
Okay.
It was,
I was going to say I would remember if it's high school.
It was college, summer college baseball, but it was a pretty good one. Yeah.
What was the situation?
That was pretty crazy. Yeah. Well, I was in the bullpen. I don't really know what happened to get the whole thing going, but it was a full on fight. Like, so everybody was going at it.
Yeah. Did they end the game, or did they eject people, or how did it end?
It was over.
Game over.
It was over. Yeah, it was done. Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was the only fight I've ever been part of on a baseball field, though.
Yeah.
So.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna accept that answer for sure. That's a good one. That's a good one. You were holding out on us.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, appreciate you calling in, man, and keep your head up, keep fighting. You guys,
I appreciate it, guys.
Fine. And once the weather breaks and you guys can get more consistent, I'm sure that your record will reflect that as well. So, thanks for calling in, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
I appreciate it, and thanks. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Coach. No, I think the one thing I'll ask you, because I know you used to help coach some Little League baseball. Yeah. What do you do, like when you've had as much rain as what we've had recently?
The only thing that you can do that won't drive yourself crazy is to realize that everybody else is in the same situation. So it's not like you're not losing an advantage to someone because they're not outside either. I don't know what you do. You just wait for it to get nice out and get out there as much as you can, and then once the games start, hopefully you can improve during the game. Yeah,
it's like it's one of those things. Like just in Little League, like I'm just sitting here like losing my mind. Like, oh my gosh, we just lost 5 days, and like I told you, like tonight I got home from school and I mowed.
Well, listen, wait a minute. You just told me you haven't been in school. What was the grass wasn't growing?
2 hour delay. Well, the grass was the ground was too wet yesterday. Oh. Yeah, I was going to mow yesterday, and I stepped out and I started sinking.
A little bit.
All right. So, I don't know. All right. I think we have Piketon softball coach Mark Blakeman on the line. Coach, you out there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for joining us tonight. You guys off to a really good start this year. 5-1 overall, and got that first league win last night. Talk to us a little bit about your team this year and what you're happy with.
So we've done a lot of work this year. Changed a few things up from the prior years. We start 3 freshmen, 3 sophomores, and 3 seniors. So we're kind of young overall. I think we have a good mix of players here. We've got a good bit of speed. The team, we pretty much talk about being a team and team players. Talk about how important it is to be a team, how softball is a team sport, and how they have to have their teammates' backs and not be selfish or jealous of other teammates' success. So we try to get that point across to them, and they've been buying in to that. We've got a good group here that gets along really well as a team.
Coach, the one thing I was going to ask you about, you're talking about, team doing well. You got this nice mix of athletes. I know you guys had some success in girls basketball this year too. Do you have a lot of the same kids like on your softball team that play basketball?
We have one, two, three. We have three basketball players.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's pretty decent. I mean, because there's usually not a ton of girls basketball players anymore. So, I'm always a big believer that, success breeds success. And I just was curious how many kids kind of transferred over to softball. But, talk about, I think you guys got a big win. I think it was against Southeastern last night, 5-1, if I remember right. Talk about,
Yes.
your pitcher and just what she brings to the table for you.
Okay, so we have three pitchers. Kendall Carroll, she threw last night. She's a senior. She's thrown really well this year, as of all of our pitchers have been so far. She throws a lot of different pitches. She's pretty smart and usually can hit her spots. Has been hitting spots really well this year, and that's been a lot of her success. She does play travel ball, so she's pretty seasoned pitcher.
What's her favorite pitch to throw?
Honestly, it kind of just whatever's working that day. She likes to throw a curveball. She sometimes her drop ball just doesn't work, and she's like, hey, we can't throw that. So I guess it just it varies from day to day or game to game. Sometimes her curveball is really working well. Sometimes her drop ball's working. She's like, hey, we need to throw it a lot more. So it kind of varies. So she's got a couple of different pitches that she throws well, and then when it's working, it's working really well.
Coach, can you just kind of talk a little bit about how big of an advantage it is for you guys to have that indoor facility, especially early on in the spring?
Oh, I'll tell you, that's about, I think it's 4 or 5 years old now, and it's it's 100 foot by 100 foot, and it's all turfed. It's got the softball bases field lined up in it, and it actually helps. It's so much better than what we used to have in it. We used to have in the old school, we used to have to hit in the home ec room, which is didn't have any heat in there, and the girls are in there freezing, and so it makes it tough when you're trying to hit and it's cold inside. So with that new facility, I've been around Piketon softball there since 2009. My daughter played from 2009 to 12, and so I've been part of that since then. But I remember the old days. Then it was really tough, and this new facility is a wonderful thing for us. It's obviously it's heated in there, and we have it's all turf. It's really nice, and it's so much better than what we're used to there at Piketon. So we've been upgrading our stuff there, and I think the girls get an advantage over that too, because obviously year round, other than August, we can use that facility. So it makes it a lot better, and I think we have a little bit of advantage for that reason, where we can go in anytime and start doing what we need to do.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, I was just thinking as we were, it's the topic of every conversation. When you talk about spring sports, you talk about the weather, and you guys be able to get in there and get out of it and still have a really productive day is huge. Who do you guys play tomorrow, Coach?
We are at Union Odo.
Okay. Gotcha.
I may be able to catch a little bit of that game. We have some practice over there. Now, I was going to go back to your pitching, Coach. And softball, obviously, a kid can throw an unlimited number of pitches, and she can throw every day. And you say you've got three pitchers. How do you go about that when you have three pitchers? Is it just look at your opponent? Hey, this team hits fastballs really well. I might throw a pitcher who throws more of a curveball or off-speed pitch, or how do you kind of go about that?
Well, you're kind of on the right track. We have all three pitchers bring something different. We have a good mix there with that. We have one that throws pretty hard. We have another one that throws a little bit slower than that, and then we have one that throws slower than that. So we have different speeds there, and they actually throw some different pitches. So we have a good mix there, which is a good thing. We look and see. We kind of scout around, and if we have a team that we think that's going to hit some faster pitching, then obviously we'll adjust and we'll move another pitcher into that spot that we won't feed into their strength. So yeah, it's kind of like we got kind of pick and choose with the three pitchers of who's going to pitch, who's going to start, and really maybe who's hot too. If we got one that's really throwing good and shutting people down, then a lot of times we might just stick with her for a little bit until that wears off, and then we'll throw somebody else in there.
Yeah, I can remember like when my sister was coming through, and she went through Zane Trace, and it seemed like the rise ball was coming in. Is that something that's kind of still around and popular? And I felt like that was a hard pitch to learn how to throw.
Yeah, the rise ball is really hard to hit, and it's kind of I've seen some video of softball players, college players pitching to college baseball players, and the college softball pitcher threw a rise ball, and he's like, "What was that?" And he's like, "You can't throw that." So it's something that baseball don't see, and softball that is really a hard. If you throw hard and you have a good rise ball, you're going to be tough to hit.
Don't you think though that in baseball the ball's always breaking down, probably because you're throwing it overhand, but then in softball I mean, it's just kind of the opposite, right? So to me it is. I don't know. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So softball, pitchers can throw a rise ball, and obviously they throw a drop ball too. So we have one pitcher that can throw a rise ball and a drop ball. So that's it makes it tough on the hitter if you throw a drop ball and she swings and misses at it, and now she's sitting at two strikes, and we go back right at her with a rise ball. Now she's seeing something totally different, and it's really tough on hitters, softball players that way too. And if you have a pitcher that actually can throw both.
Yeah, that rise ball with two strikes, that's a tough pitch to hit because, man, you're trying to protect the plate, and you see that ball right up in your eye level, and, ooh, it looks like an orange up there, a beach ball, and you're like, ooh, let me get a piece of that, and then you're just right underneath of it. So, yeah, for sure.
Yep, it's hard to lay off, especially with two strikes.
Well, Coach, who did you say you guys have coming up this week?
We have Union Odo tomorrow at Union Odo.
And then you got another league game Friday?
Yes, we are at home against Westfall Friday.
Okay. Well, I'll probably try to watch a little bit of that softball game tomorrow night. We'll be over there practicing Little League. Hopefully we don't hit any foul balls over onto your field or anything. But if we do, we apologize in advance. So, wish you the best of luck tomorrow, and hopefully we get to talk to you again here before the season's over with.
Sounds good. Hopefully we'll continue to win.
All right. Good luck, Coach.
Yep. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
I feel like we talked a lot of pitching with him, but just with my sister going through, pitching is the name. And it is in baseball too, right? But pitching is just so important. Number one, you got to be able to throw strikes, and then you you can hit your spots, make the batters hit the pitch that you want them to hit, whether it's that rise ball or the drop ball, and beat it into the ground or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, and just how much it impacts, especially if a girl is really versatile and can throw a lot of different pitches. You know, the batter can never get comfortable in the box.
Yep.
And if you have them uncomfortable, you're already huge advantage.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're hoping to have Washington Courthouse boys baseball coach Brian Yeasel on the line. Welcome back to the Haynes Total Healthcare Coaches Call-In Show by Sosa. And I got shook off on my last play, my last call right there. We will not be having Washington Courthouse coach Brian Yeasel on the line. They're still playing. We are joined with Portsmouth West softball. Absolutely. Yeah.
Hold on a second.
We're joined with Portsmouth West softball coach Danny Coleman. Portsmouth West comes in at 4-3 with a big win tonight versus Waverly. You want to tell us a little bit about that game tonight, Coach?
Well, we knew that we were going to have to play some really tough ball games. Waverly always puts out a good team. We just had to really be consistent with our hitting, and our hitting's been really coming along lately. And just, we had to make a few defensive changes. My team is very versatile. And we just went in with the mindset that we just had to be productive at the plate was very key for our win tonight.
Yeah, you guys have, a really rich history, a lot of tradition down there with your softball program. Do you guys have like a lot of upperclassmen this year, or, got some younger kids in there, or what's your roster looking like?
Well, we have a mix of both. We have 4 seniors this year, and then the remainder of our team are sophomores, and then we have 3 freshmen.
Okay, well that's 2 coaches in a row we've talked to, coach, that don't have any juniors on their roster. Piketon's coach didn't have any, and unless I didn't hear you, you didn't say you had any either. So that's kind of a unique situation. No, we don't have any
juniors this year.
Yeah. What, you guys off to a pretty good start, 4-3, and, the SOC, they're usually really, really good in softball. You guys, Wheelersburg, Waverly's usually pretty decent. Just talk to us about, like, maybe what you're kind of expecting for your team to do this year in conference play.
Well, we always have a competitive schedule, and we always pretty much kind of go head-to-head right off the bat. We played Hillsboro our very first opening day, and we played Ironton. So we don't shy away from very, very good competition. Our schedule is very loaded with even more competition this year, just to make us better. When you play good teams, you get better and learn that competitive, strive. We have to look at each game as a really hard game. SOC, you don't get any games off. Every team in the SOC, 1, 2, and 3 are very competitive.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's the one thing, you always see Portsmouth West, it seems like, at least in the districts, most of the time in the regional level. And you hit like a big point, I thought, like you got to play good teams so you can learn about your team, right? You can know, hey, this kid can do that, or we need to maybe do this in certain situations. And just talk about, your mindset and your philosophy going into the year, like on the type of teams that you're going to schedule.
Well, like I said, we opened up with Hillsboro and Ironton right off the bat. We had Piketon recently. They're an up-and-coming good hitting team. We have Chillicothe. These are non-league games. We have Circleville. We have Miami Trace. We're going to Boyd County tournament. We're playing a team out of Tennessee and another team out of Rowan County. We have Greenup. I mean, we are just loaded in our schedule. Everything, every night. We just can't take plays off. And it's probably one of the hardest competitive schedules that we've had in a long time. I mean, even more so than last year and the year before. We just kind of really loaded it down and just said, hey, we've got a great team, very young team. Let's play. Let's make them competitive and see how we roll.
Coach, with the realignment, what division are you guys this year?
I believe we are 6. I believe we're 6.
What type of offensive team are you guys this year, Coach? You kind of rely on power hitting? Or?
We have power. We have speed. My younger girls are just so fundamentally sound with their hitting. And, of course, my seniors, they've seen a lot of ball games, and they're very smart at the plate. And just this year, I just feel like we're very consistent all the way through our lineup, and we have some depth in the hitting as well as depth in our defense too.
What about in the circle, Coach? What do you guys look like there? You have an ace. You have.
We have 3 pitchers. We have a senior pitcher, and we have a sophomore pitcher, and we have a freshman pitcher. They work all the time. Very good kids, very coachable, and they're just developing all the time and doing good things.
What's the difference between the 3, Coach? Because I think we've talked to at least 2 or 3 softball coaches tonight, and they all talk about having 3 pitchers. Like, they have different styles, or what does each one bring to the table for you?
Well, yeah, they have different styles, and they complement each other with having different pitches that maybe the other one does not. And we've been, using all 3 of our pitchers pretty much every game, just to diversify and keeping hitters off timing, keeping them off a little bit, off balance, I should say. And just really, I love these girls. They really want to work hard. They hit their spots. And like I said, they're very versatile with each other, and what one doesn't have, the other one does.
Coach, they all right-handed, left-handed, or mix of both?
Yes, they're right-handers.
Right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite pitch to coach?
You mean pitching wise?
Yeah, what favorite pitch to teach, I should say.
Oh, well, I don't know. We don't throw a fastball, that's for sure. But all of our pitchers can throw multiple pitches and on command. You know, I always say it's not about how many you throw, but it's how many you throw right and consistent and master. And you want to be good at everything and not mediocre at all. So we just kind of work the pitches that are good and that works for us, and they can master those.
Coach, how long have you been at Portsmouth West?
I've been this is my 12th year here at head coach. I come in at 2014, I believe. It's been a long time, but I was here right after I graduated college and got my teaching. So I coached in 94 as well.
So you've been there a while. So what do you think? Do you guys do, or do you do anything in particular? Because like I said, you guys have this rich tradition, history. Do you have like your upperclassmen? You know, what do they do to kind of, you know, help guide your younger players, your freshmen, your sophomores to keep the tradition going for you guys?
Our seniors are amazing leaders, and it starts with them being good leaders and holding, you know, themselves as well as the players accountable. What is so nice about these seniors is I also help with assistant volleyball, so I also had them in volleyball too. So it makes such a good, you know, relationship with them. But our seniors are pretty amazing. I've always had a good senior class every year, and they hold the line, and they take the younger ones under their wing, and they, you know, teach them the ropes and how things work.
Coach, who do you guys have coming up the rest of this week?
We have Willisburg tomorrow, and then we go on the 10th, which is Thursday, to Lucasville Valley. And then Saturday, we're heading to East Carter to take on Rowan County, and then Russell, Kentucky to take on Elizabethtown, Tennessee.
Can you kind of give us a little preview or breakdown of tomorrow's game versus Wheelersburg? I know they're usually pretty good in softball down there also.
You know, Willisburg, they're just stellar. And, of course, I've known Teresa my whole life, and she's just a good coach, always puts out a fundamentally sound and, you know, just amazing teams every year. And we just know that we're going to go head-to-head. We're going to have good ball. We know that we have to play good defense and do a lot of things right. That's just with any time you ever play Willisburg. And, you know, just be consistent with our energy, play good ball, like I said, have good defense, and, you know, produce at the plate.
What do you encourage your girls to do when they're up to bat? Like, do you want them being like aggressive in the count early, like looking for that first good pitch to hit? You like to, you know, maybe wear a kid's arms down, let them, you know, try to get to somebody else, or what's your kind of approach as a coach when you go into games?
Well, our staff, we do like to scout quite a bit. We scout pretty heavy, and we study statistics and things. We try to. And we try to, you know, navigate through what type of pitchers that you have and look at their ball's strike percentage, to be honest, how many pitches they throw. You know, we work for every team and prepare. So if you got a kid that's throwing pretty equal with balls and strikes, we know that she's pretty much around the plate. So you tell your batters to be more patient. You know, if she has a lot of walks, that's what you do. You tell them to be a consistent, patient hitter. So I can't really say our approach every time, because it's really in tune with the team that we're playing and, you know, around the pitchers that we, you know, have done our scouting for.
Right.
But, you know, you can teach them to be patient, but you also have to know whenever they have the green light to just hit that first pitch. And with our seniors and our sophomores, you know, they're just really good at, you know, learning and adjusting to every style of pitcher and timing them up and knowing what they can throw and what they can't. They're told to be very patient at the plate when they need to be.
Gotcha.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you calling in tonight, taking time from your bus ride from Waverly back to Portsmouth West, and you know, wish you the best of luck tomorrow against Wheelersburg and the rest of the way, and hopefully we'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
It's always good to hear from softball and baseball schools down that way. I know there's a lot of history, a lot of rich tradition down there. I always feel like the spring sports are maybe some of the most successful. And like I know, like when I played in high school, we were able to beat Wheelersburg in the regional semifinals, and we had to play like Jackson. We had to play some of those other Southern Ohio schools, and it's one of those things that's just they're always competitive, right? Always competitive. So
yeah, I mean it seems like it's always that way, and I don't see it changing anytime soon. And I think she said she was Division 6.
Division 6.
That's gonna be a problem for someone.
Absolutely, no doubt about it. So. Okay, I think we have our next coach on the line. I believe we have Chillicothe boys baseball coach Tom Barr. Coach, you out there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, thanks for taking the time to talk to us tonight. Do you guys have a game tonight, Coach?
Yeah, we're actually on a bus coming back from Courthouse. We got beat 10-6 tonight.
10-6. Okay. Courthouse, obviously, they're a pretty good team year in and year out. And kind of talk to us a little bit about that game tonight and how that went for you.
Tonight was back and forth. I mean, they took a lead. We took a lead. We were back and forth 3 or 4 times. They played better at the end than we did, and we made a pitching change, and it kind of blew up on us and gave up 4 runs and ended up losing 10-6.
Coach, was that your guys' first? Sorry about that. I thought you were done. Was that your guys' first league game of the year tonight?
This is our second league game. We actually Courthouse beat us last night 3-1.
Oh,
so the FAC we play back-to-back days. They started that last year, so it's a little different.
Yeah.
Saw a really good pitcher both nights, but last night we saw a really, really good pitcher, and our guys threw well too. So it's a pitching battle last night, and really today, both starting pitchers threw really well again today. But yeah, they came out on top.
What's kind of the mindset of doing the back-to-back, Coach, if you don't mind me asking?
I think it's so if you have a dominant arm, like if one team in the league has a dominant arm, I know when I coached in the SVC, you play everybody once and you play everybody again. And I think, it's to prevent you as a coach from having one arm where maybe you could throw off against some of the lesser teams and keep your one ready for the better teams. So yes, I guess it's to take that out of the equation a little bit more to where you really need to develop a pitching staff to win the league.
I actually kind of like that.
I mean,
idea.
It's different. How do you like that as a coach? I mean, obviously having it both ways. What's your opinion on that?
I'm a fan of it. I know when they were talking about it and our AD was asking me, what my thoughts were, I was an advocate for it just because, I think it makes us as coaches, we have to develop pitching staffs. We can't just ride one guy. I mean, one of the really fundamental differences between baseball and softball is, softball, if you got a stud on the mound, she can throw every day for you and you can win a lot of games. And in baseball, it's obviously different, but I'm an advocate of it. I think it makes things more, it equals things out. I think as a coach, you just can't ride one guy.
Absolutely. I kind of like that. I wonder.
So let me ask you this. So if that's how your league is, so are your guys' league games, I'm assuming Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday? Is that how that works?
No, actually it's just Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesdays are league makeup day. So we don't schedule any games on Wednesday, but essentially 2 league games a week back to back on Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. Huh.
That's interesting. I kind of like it.
Well, and I think you can maybe get away with that a little bit too, because at the end of the day, you got to get them all in. And with the FAC, how many league teams are there? 5?
Well, there's 16. So I think we're only playing like 10 league games. Yeah. I think if we had more, obviously, it'd be harder to do. More teams in the FAC, it'd be tougher to do.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. That's intriguing.
Yeah. Well, Coach, you said you guys put 6 runs on the scoreboard tonight. How'd you guys get those 6 runs? Who hit well for you?
Benny Howard had a really good game. He had three RBIs. Vincent Howard, who started shortstop for us, and senior this year, kind of moved into the shortstop role just a couple games ago. We were really struggling with that position, and he stepped up, and he's been really good defensively for us, and he had a couple hits tonight and 3 RBIs. And then really Trent Wade was our starting pitcher. He threw really well tonight. Our pitching's been solid so far. We just really, our bats have been slow, but I think they're coming around now.
I'm going to ask you a question, kind of irrelevant to the game, but we've obviously had some bad weather the last 4 or 5 days, whatever. What do you do as a coach during that time?
We talk about this every year with the team because it's baseball is not meant to be played inside. We're fortunate we have a place to go inside where we can hit and do some things. But it's still, it's not fun. It's not fun for the kids. It's not fun for the coaches, especially once you get a taste of being outside in the spring and then you got to go back in. We talk about it, and it's Ohio. It's the weather. Mm-hmm. We know it's going to happen, and we just really have to overcome, certain things that we can really work on inside, and we try to take advantage of the time inside to do that. And then obviously there's things that it's harder to do inside, but I think you got to get creative, different drills, those types of things to really, because you don't want to get in the same old, or the kids, they're less engaged. I think you got to throw some different stuff at them and really just understand and plan that it doesn't matter how nice it is the first, second, third week of the season. You're going back inside. It's just a matter of when, and we just have to overcome those obstacles.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here thinking too, as I'm thinking about this league schedule. You probably get a good scouting report on Monday night. If a kid loves the fastball or if he hits the changeup or curveball well, and then you go that next night, you can
make some adjustments.
Absolutely,
not on the practice field, but just
right.
In maybe a quick meeting before the game with your pitching staff, and make those necessary adjustments. I would say.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's more strategy. I think I've even heard some coaches say, some guys may throw off, or not really throw off, but maybe throw their 2 on Monday night. If they're playing a really good league opponent, they may do that for that reason, right? Because they can kind of figure out what they're going up against. Obviously we all scout each other anyways, but kids change from year to year. You have a kid maybe usually when they're younger. I mean, they tend to be pull hitters, and as they develop more, they may start at more backside. So kids that you may scout as a sophomore and they're dead pull, their senior year, they're not dead pull anymore, and much more difficult to get out. But yeah, from a strategy perspective, obviously we get a bird's eye view, right? We're right there to see who's hitting well for them, and maybe what their weak spots are, and then try to take advantage of that on Tuesday night.
Coach, what do you like the most about your team this year? If you had to pick one thing, what's the one thing that stands out to you about your team?
I love our senior class. You always have good senior classes. You hope, you don't always, but you hope to always have good senior classes. This year's senior class, my first year at Chillicothe, 2020, they were 7th graders. So we've had the opportunity to work with these guys, since they were 7th grade. So just to see them develop and grow into young men, and we're very fortunate. Our senior class, they're probably the average 4.4 or something crazy. We got good kids, smart kids. And I think that's a strength for us. We got a couple seniors struggling now, and the nice thing is you look over in the dugout and you really can't tell they're struggling by the way they're acting, the way they're cheering on their teammates. We're off to a 1-4 start, and honestly, if you heard our dugout tonight, you would think that we hadn't been beat yet. So I think just the seniors are leading that. So I think that's probably my favorite part. Every class is different. There's a bunch of puzzle pieces that you're trying to put together as a coach, and this year's no different. But I think having those 5 seniors, and really 5 seniors that have been playing, it's not like you have a couple guys. It seems like a lot of years you may have a senior who hasn't played since they were, a freshman or in, 6th grade or something. Yeah. May not be an everyday contributor, but our 5 seniors really, that's and a fun group to be around. We're all frustrated right now, but we're ready to go out and win our next game. So, and that's due to our seniors.
Speaking of your next game, Coach, when is that and who's it against?
We get to go see Coach Taylor, who just had his 400th win. I sent him a congrats, but also say congrats on the show tonight. We go to Unioden. We play Coach Tony Taylor, who's been around the game a long time. We always play at homes, and they're always good games. And I look forward to seeing Tony and his staff. And they're coming to us Thursday night, and then we'll go to them later in the season. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's always good seeing those guys get the opportunity to catch up with Coach Taylor.
Absolutely, for sure. Well, Coach, thank you for calling in tonight, and hopefully we get to talk to you here again in the coming weeks, and hope the tide kind of turns for the Cavaliers here as we start getting into mid-April.
Well, thank you, and thanks to Sosa for everything you guys do for the athletes in our area. We probably don't say thanks enough, but we certainly appreciate everything you guys are doing, and we look forward to talking to you more as the season goes along.
All right, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I don't know. As he was talking and as I was thinking about this, and I've said this before, you talk about the weather, and obviously I know this is never going to happen, but how much more sense would it be if high school baseball was played in the fall and high school football was played in the spring? You know what I mean? Because then baseball-wise, you've got – see, right now you're doing is you're getting the summer league teams ready to play because your high school athletes are playing for their high school team. Now they're at their best in the summer, where if you'd flip it, you'd be primed for your high school team in the fall with better weather.
Quit making too much sense.
It just – isn't that crazy, though? I mean, like, never going to happen.
No.
But, man, it would be so much – as good as the baseball is in our area now, the way it is, and in the whole state of Ohio, how much better it would be if it was flipped.
Yeah. Like you said, I don't think it'll ever happen.
Oh,
but
never will
it makes
happen.
too much sense for it to happen. So.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's going to be all we're going to have tonight. We had a few other coaches lined up. I think their games are still going on, and we had a coach and some players that were sick that were going to be in here tonight. So hopefully next week we'll have some more and some players get in here, and maybe we can start talking to some track and field athletes and coaches here soon also. So I
think that's kind of just the risk you take with spring and doing a show like this because you got to get the show in, but these guys have to play their games. So we get who we can get when we can get them, and we're happy to cover the coaches that we can get on here. So we appreciate them taking the time, but it's kind of a hit and miss, so to speak. Fortunately, so far the first 3 weeks we've had several coaches that we've been able to talk to, and looking forward to doing it again next week.
Absolutely. Well, for Matt Hoops and Christian Spradlin, myself, Jeran Cox, thanks for tuning in and watching tonight, and we'll be back next week on the Haynes Total Healthcare Coaches Call-In Show.